We didn't focus on creating diversity, but it just sort of came together when we were doing the right thing. And what we've experienced from that is we look for diverse strengths in a lot of cases, but we also need those diverse, experiences and backgrounds and perspectives because that's the community that we live in. Well, in an industry that's been somewhat homogenous traditionally, when I think of diversity and inclusion, it really comes down to just making sure we're not excluding people,
Right.
and that we can work with everybody and then everybody is, familiar and we can grow in that manner.
And I was going to say, because I think probably some advisors might think, well, is that for me? Is it important for me? Because I just don't see the diversity yet in my community. But Wes, you're probably a great example of all of a sudden you now have a very diverse team and now you see business growing from that. So do you want to share a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're in a market that's traditionally very diverse, in the Gulf Coast of Texas. And it's we started recruiting a little bit differently and reaching out a little bit more broadly. And we developed a training program and the way that we started making outreach and decisions going forward, we didn't focus on creating diversity, but it just sort of came together when we were doing the right thing. And what we've experienced from that is we look for diverse strengths in a lot of cases, but we also need those diverse, experiences and backgrounds and perspectives because that's the community that we live in.
Mm-hmm. Right. And you challenge each other. Everybody thinks the same way, doesn't create the same opportunity as challenging each other and learning and growing from that.
So what would be your advice? So if you're an advisor who's never really worked with diverse markets and you have a very homogenous group of clients, what would be your advice? Because I think, Marcy, you were saying, well, you just can't kind of go in there and I'm an expert. But we also don't want people to feel inhibited. So what would be your advice if you had an advisor who wasn't familiar with different communities?
I think the one thing that unifies us all is that we want empathy from who we're working with. So that's something that any advisor can relate to. If you're going to be a successful advisor, that's something that you can start with any of your clients.
And I think even each niche market has kind of their own specific needs and wants. But at the end of the day, in the manufacturing industry, which I work in a lot, I get a big, diverse group of people that I work with. And I've noticed that at the end of the day, what people really want is a better life for themselves and a better life for their children than they had when they grew up.
Yep.
And if we all just realize that, a lot of the insecurity we may have in working with somebody who looks different than us or believes different things than us, it really just all falls by the wayside and the people open
Peel
up.
it back, and that's
That's
we
what's
all have
really,
in common.
that's what it is, yeah. I think that's what it is.
I think I'll add that there's two aspects. One is the individual clients that we're seeking out. Are we seeking out a diverse client base? Right. If we are doing that, then we need to be sensitive to that. So to your point with mentioning about Spanish speaking, if we're looking to go into the Hispanic community, it would make sense that you have someone on staff who can speak Spanish. And then if you need to be there with that person to give them guidance, that's fine, but now you're relating to that and that will then bring in a particular market if you're interested in moving in that market. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is if you're looking to hire. I happen to not be in an office where we're hiring a lot of advisors or doing anything like that, so we're just kind of market focused. But if you are looking to hire advisors and you want to go into these different areas, now then you would like to have someone who is representative who can relate to that particular group a little more than you could.
Yep. Smart. Absolutely.
When consumers look for, advisors, to select a good advisor is somebody that they can communicate with. And we talked before about maybe somebody is bilingual and they speak fluently in multiple languages, but maybe they're just comfortable in their native language or their home language, or some other characteristic or
Commonalities.
commonality that they have, and that's what's so important for people to feel comfortable and confident in their finances.
And if you're doing intergenerational planning too, and you've got parents or grandparents that maybe solely only speak the other language, or they're, like you said, just more comfortable in speaking, then it's important to be bilingual then.